How you get on? I've a lot of people message me looking for advice and stuff like that, and I can't really give advice because at the end of the day, like I'm not a medical professional or anything like that. I don't have any papers or special things. Even though some of the people that met along my journey had papers, probably got out of a lucky bag, and not all of them. Some of them were brilliant. Some of them were unbelievably brilliant, but their personality or them wasn't suited to me, but would have worked wonders for someone else. But I kept going and got ones to help, so I can't give you advice, but I can tell you how I done it. There's no point in me going back over past events that led me to a complete meltdown, but I can start at a complete meltdown and the lead up to it. I was your typical big hard man, like your, oh yeah, I couldn't ask for help, sure. Big hero. I struggled through. That's when stigma for me was actually there. Friends, family, couldn't ask for advice. Couldn't explain to them what was going on because, I don't know, I was just terrible. Was it a sign of weakness or they want to show vulnerability? I don't know. But what happened was I got myself into before I had a meltdown, I catch 22, or I do say 21 for odd time, but it was catch 22. I was out, bad things happened to me, life I didn't think was fair, I was looking at completely wrong at the time. But I had to, I don't know, I had to do something, but at the same time I didn't care about consequences to myself or anything like that. But my kids would have had to live with consequences and stuff like that. But I couldn't do it, but I had to do it. I'm not telling you what I planned or anything like that, but it was just one of those things. And then at some point, I was in bed, couldn't get out. Thinking about this, and then I can't do that because kids, and I do this, and I literally got myself in a trap. Couldn't ask for help, couldn't talk to someone. I was banjaxed, complete and utterly banjaxed. And then mind didn't know how to deal with this. So I was like, that little bit at the back of your head, the little voice or intuition or something like that. It was trying to, I don't know, just talk sense into me or that, and I couldn't deal with reality. So it started to help me kind of look at another reality banging away at me. So how the fuck? This is hard to explain. This is like, just try pop a bloody live yourself and you'll understand how much pressure I'm here. And I don't want to chop and change videos and cut bits out. I try to just play it out, like there's no point coming back and making it sound perfect, but yeah, I'm avoiding it now. Yeah, no, I was there and part of me was trying to fix myself. And then another part of me is called your limbic system. It's fight or flight, and it was over. It was trying to protect me. It was, everything was being overemphasized. This could happen, that could happen. Oh my God, oh yeah, if I do this and do that, and oh jeez, hold on, there's a car outside. Oh jeez, what? And it just got overwhelmed. Mine was going, and I was days without sleep. Like, I couldn't sleep. I don't mean I was a zombie. There was no sleep. Like, I couldn't get out of bed, but going to sleep. But yeah, so it was like I was watching TV and things started to relate to me. And I was like, right, this is grand, that makes sense, yeah, that helps. Oh, that's a different way of thinking about it. And then, myself, the next one, it started happening more and more. And coincidence stopped being coincidence. And I was hyped up, I was trying to protect myself and work away out of catch 22. And the more thing, and then it got me thinking, like, and the more it got me thinking, the more it kept kind of speaking to me. So like I was pulling stuff out of TV that was reminding me of things in my past and things in the future. And I got to the point where I just said to myself, do you know what? This can't be right. Like, there's no way that all this stuff is coming over TV or radio or bloody looking outside and seeing coincidence happening. I said, there's no way this happening. But what was really happening was your subconscious, when it takes in information, this is my interpretation of it, subconscious takes in information, it just gets ape stuff and disregards. Get out, don't need that, you need this. But mine, I was overprotecting myself, and protecting it kept giving me all this information that I didn't need. It was irrelevant, but because it was being given to me, and brought to my attention and my focus, I was like, hold on, all this stuff's going on around me. I was never aware of it before. This is making me remind me of that. And the mind started going like 90 again. And I was looking there and I was like, what the hell is going on? So logically, you make, anything that's brought to your attention, you make a logical decision on it, right? It's like a logical decision. And when stuff is starting to remind you of things that very few people know about and all that, you start thinking, is this being put here? Is this here to make me paranoid? Is this here to teach me a lesson? Is what's going on? Now, at the time, I had no idea how this shock worked. There's me protection limbic system, your keep you in danger, and then there's, if you look it up, there's a Sigmund Freud does a yoke and all that and about it. It's all different parts of the brain, does all different things, and a lot of it goes on in the back of your head. But like, this has been brought to my consciousness, and I had to rationalize this. How is all this happening? Why is all this information being fed to me? Why is this all relating to me? And the more I focused on it, the more it came. And I didn't have a clue what was going on. And I needed an escape. Plain and simple. So I started making up scenarios like, that is not a coincidence. That's put there for me. And then I started to question, who put it there? Who put it there? That's a good one. And then you're trying to rationalise that. And then eventually you go, what's called, into a little psychotic break, psychosis, or one of the psychiatrists that I met said it wasn't the same as someone else's psychosis, it was different. It was kind of like, he linked it to PTSD, overprotection. Other people go into psychosis, but for me it was kind of, yuck. So I was like, right, hold on. Then you watch all the films. You hear all these thriller stories and psychological stories. So you're like, hold on. I watched this film called whatever, Gothica or something. And you're like, oh, hold on. This is going on. This is going on back. And this is some sort of experiment or something. And eventually I was like, hold on. I feel this has gone too far. So in the back of my head, I was like, this is possibly real. This isn't real. So I'll go ask. And when I went to ask, like, got help in the hospital and that, one of the biggest things about it is you have to trust the person that's in front of you. So any bit of a lie of it all, you can't trust them. And even to the point where I actually tested them once or twice. I'd read a little book about information about mental health acts and rights and all that, and I tested them. I don't know, I was bananas like. So like, I remember going to the door and I sat there and I said, can I leave? And they're like, no, you're not allowed out and all this. And I said, can I leave? And they told me no. Now, they didn't do it. One person didn't come up. I hated them come up around me. I don't know, maybe because I was a big fella and one or two of them probably knew me and they knew I was well able to handle myself. But the fact that I hated them come up was intimidating, number one. I wasn't intimidating to them. And I asked them, and I knew the correct process was, right, one, they couldn't hold me because I went in myself. Two, if they thought that I should be involuntary kept, the procedure is that within 24 hours they have to have a counsel, psychiatrists, and they say yeah or no. They lie through their teeth about it, and they didn't even cop on that I was actually doing it deliberately to see if I could trust these people. And they never bothered getting me that psychiatric evaluation. They just said no, and I wasn't going to fight with them. I wasn't there to hurt anyone or anything like that. So I just went crack and go down to my room. They were meant to organise this. They never did. Never followed guidelines. So that was one of the major things that made me question everything. And it spread up again and again. It made me worse. But then when I came out of it and came down with antipsychotic medication, I started to really read about the mind and the brain and how all it works. I spent hours. I'd sure nothing else to do. And got into kind of spiritual, and I was looking at it from different aspects. So when I started to realise, I was like, right, hold on. All this information that was being fed to me, this was being fed to me by myself. It was being fed to me to help me. I was just looking at it the wrong way. I interpreted the information that was being given to me by myself, some part of my mind, as some bloody psychological thriller. But it wasn't. It was me trying to help myself and get me out of a sticky situation, catch-22. So when I started looking at my psychotic break or something like that a little bit differently, open-minded and realised this was all coming from inside, internally, and it was being brought to my attention to try, some part of my brain try to communicate with me. It doesn't do it in speech. It does it by catching your attention. It did for me. So I started analysing everything. Not overly, like, I wasn't psychotic or anything like that. I started listening to myself, and I started looking at my perspective and the whole lot. And when I did that, I started to heal. But the first thing I had to admit to myself was, my perspective isn't right. So if you're not completely a nut job like myself back then, maybe the best thing to do is actually get in touch with yourself. That's where mindfulness comes in, living in the moment. Start to understand yourself and start to realise your capabilities. Perspective has a lot to do with it. My perspective when I changed from someone's doing all this and planting all this here for me to this is coming from me to help me, all them little things completely changed. And I started to understand that watching Cheech and Chong there and looking at them in a totally different way. I wasn't really looking at film, I was looking at two characters. One of them, I don't know, was a rich boy and he just driving around his car, don't want to be someone else. The show lads going by with their suits and that, and I was looking at it, I was like, them lads going by in the suit, they're all uppity da, but they're not happy. Here's two lads, not two pennies rubbed together, just living the dream. Was quite cool way of looking at the film. Look at them as how they felt. And I started to realise things in life are a little bit different. Number one, all these people have it wrong. It's not about what you have materially, it's about what you have in here. And don't try to keep up with anyone else or anything like that. This has gone off track again, jeez. Yeah, I'll stay with Cheech and Chong, great film. But yeah, I was looking at the two boys and I seen how they grew a friendship and they didn't care and they do it up. But one scene on it was the last scene where a rock band. And your man came out and he had little girlies teepee on him and the whole lot. And the little lad was high as a kite, bloody falling over drums. And they got on stage and started kind of do their little thing. And everyone's, oh, jeez, boo. They're a complete farce. And the fact that he was wearing a little girl's ballet outfit made it look even worse. And I don't know, something happened. Came in and so actually what happened? Oh yeah, hip candle smoke came in. There was van burn into the vents and they all got high. But I'm not saying that now, but the point of it I was trying to make was when the boys was dressed like a teepee suit or a little girl thing, ballet thing was on it, they came to and your man started playing the guitar and doing all the moves and beating the drums. They were absolutely brilliant. Oh, if you want to see it, if he was dressed in a rock suit, leathers and chains and all that, it wouldn't look as well. But the fact that he was playing that sort of music, dressed as a little girl, was unbelievable because he had the skills, confidence and everything in himself to learn it. Or not learn, to actually play like that. It was savage. And I was looking at that bit and I was like, oh my god, like everyone's looking at these lads come on in the pink suit. And he got up there and he tried and he failed and they're booing and laughing at him. But when he actually kept going and played, they were fascinated. They thought it was brilliant. Yeah, the perspective, that's what it's about. You look at the boy coming on in his girl's blouse or something like that, you think he's crap. But when you see him play and he has the girl's blouse on, you were amazed at how good he was and how he was able to put on a girl's blouse and pull off what he did. If you watch the film, you'll see that scene at the end and just look at it from that perspective. As for mindfulness and all that, right, going back to this, when you get in touch with yourself, right, you have to ask yourself some questions. One of them is, I'm terrified anyone will know about my problems or anything like that, right? So you're hiding it, you're bottling it up. And you start to get paranoid, trust me, because you're protecting yourself. And you might think what people say to you or do or look at you or anything like that, it's negative. Or you walk into a room full of people and you're, oh my god, the people in the room are doing the same as you. And you're all hiding it. And they're hiding it and you're hiding it. And when you get truthful to yourself, you start to realise, do you know what? Why am I hiding it? Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of, because like if you broke your arm, you went to hospital, And he came out and said, oh, geez, you got broken arm. Oh, yeah, broke here and you have a cast and this long it takes to heal. Or if you have a chest infection, oh, yeah, just I had a chest infection before, it's a killer. No one talks about mental health like that. Even though it's the same bloody thing. This thing here inside you that's causing all this stress is just wrong. It's an organ or whatever, it's your brain. It's not actually you, it's a part of your body to has a function to protect you. If there's something wrong in here, there's no difference between having a broken arm and having something wrong in here. And except the fact that we're so afraid to admit it. I was definitely. We're that afraid to admit it that sure we can't go and talk about it. You're hiding it. Imagine having a broken leg, and everyone thought this was shameful, and you walking into a shop, and you're that ashamed of it, you start walking on it as if there's nothing wrong with it. And you're now doing all the jig on the dance floor. Imagine how much more damage you're doing to yourself, doing to that leg. You're making bits of it. Same here. If you're feeling a bit down or stressed, don't be ashamed of it. It's just your mind. And the biggest part of it was coming out with it. Now at the time I was bonkers anyway, so it made no difference to me. I didn't have to do the hard part that you'll probably have to do because like I was away with the fairies, so it made no difference to me. I think that was my get out of jail free card. Now that's not to say some people that have say psychosis and that they get the negative effects. I got positive effects. Now I had negative effects as well, don't get me wrong, when you're living in a different world, different reality. Do you know what the actual funny thing about it is? People pay huge money to have these extreme events, to experience things. People watch films and they're, oh my god, that's brilliant. I was in psychosis. Well, a type of psychosis. I was the lead character in my own reality. That's what I look at. Not many people get to experience that. I did. I got to be the Messiah. Huh? Imagine feeling like you got to be the Messiah. That's a feeling that, well, very few people have. You believe it. You are it. Think about that. I got to experience that. I got the negative effects of it. And when I experienced it, it was the best thing that happened to me. It was absolutely eye-opening. Completely changed my life. It got me in touch with myself. Got me meditating. It got me doing everything. And I started to use that to help me. Art was a big one. I throw paint on a canvas and I started looking at the patterns. I started making up, using my thought process that I had in psychosis to actually paint. And I started moving the paint around and creating a story in my artwork. I done it with cooking. When I was cooking, I was creating a story in my mind. You know, when you're cooking dinner and you're thinking away, well, creating your meal. Writing stuff out. Don't just look at even films. Don't look at films as the thing. Look outside the box. Look at the characters, the way they act, interact with each other, and do it in life as well. Look at it helped me an awful lot. Was number one, realize majority of people out there, like for me to put up a video like this is massive for me. You out there are going to listen to it, and it's not massive for you. You probably go off and you talk, oh yeah, he's another video up, or this lad has done a video, whatever. I know that this feels an awful lot different to me doing it than to you. And it's vice versa. If you do something like this, it feels an awful lot different for you than it does to me. So think about if someone does something like what I'm doing now, and the way you're thinking about me doing something. You care, but you don't really care. If you're into it, you're into it. This is very hard. I'm going to use that Peterson fella's. It's very hard to articulate, right? What I'm trying to say is, but when you're doing something, picture someone else doing it and you looking at them do it, and that's the way people are seeing you. Now, this is where karma comes in. If you're a negative person, you're going down to hell. If you're a positive person, you're going up to heaven, because you will see what you project out. It's called projection. We all do it. Like see me touch my neck. That's a little body language thing that I had to go through as well. Like, I learned about body language and all this stuff like that. That's soothing. People pick up on that subconsciously. You probably pick up on yourself soothing like that, or your earlobes are twisting your hair, things like that. They're the things you have to become aware of. And that's your body trying to tell you, to soothe you. And when you pick up on these things, it helps. There are things I learned in psychosis. Mine's going blank here now. It was a bit of a ramble. I'm going to get better at this, trying to explain my story. But what I was saying is, I went through a psychosis, or a different type of psychosis, whatever you like to call it. And I changed my perspective on it. I didn't go, oh my God, oh no. I changed my perspective. And when I changed my perspective, I got to look at it differently. And I got to learn from all those things. I hope to try to teach you all this. But the main thing to take away from this is, one, get in touch with yourself. Start noticing your habits, what you repeat doing. When you're under stress, you mightn't realise you're under stress because you're under stress. But if you start noticing little things like, this is my body trying to talk to me, or this, or my favourite one, I don't know, is this. I used to always like hand flapping, but it's a subtle way of doing it. It's a soothing thing. That's my body trying to soothe me. That means I'm under stress. If I'm under stress, I can address what's making me under stress. But if I don't know if I'm under stress, look at what I do as well. Look at situations that make you do these things, that you feel stress, and then take your aspect out of it. Put someone else in that situation looking at you, or go home and look at the film and kind of use a different thing. Go in. Another thing, that's I can't really think of much now. I'm really going off track here. Like I say, try put up a video like this and you'll see why I'm going off track. It's not scripted or anything like that. What else was I? That's pretty much it. Psychosis, yeah. What else did I really learn about? Yeah, but like, try to do art. Art's a big one, especially if you're able to look at it. Like, I done an art piece there, might give you an idea of how I'm able to do it. I'm actually going to do another art one eventually, but kids have broke all my brushes. I've no very few paint and everything. But I will do an art piece. I'll use what I have. I'll get a toilet roll and maybe a few jigsaw pieces and stuff like that. Use what I have. So, like, same in life. And if you don't have the tools, use what tools you do have. Tools. I done a lot of self-defense martial arts, and what I did notice was Western society, or I think we're Western, yeah, all the stuff we get, like mindfulness and connected behaviour therapy and all that's in all those Asian countries. But we in the West like to take all this stuff and use our scientific method and pull through it and go, this'll work, that'll work, that'll work. And we rigidise it. We make it step 1, step 2, step 3. And life is a flow. You can't go, I have to get A to B. You can go with it. Don't try fight. If you have to go to number 3 before you get to step number 2, that's okay. I found it okay. Some people tell you no, but like, there's lots of ways out there doing it to help you. Like, if you don't want to go to mindfulness or anything like that, you incorporate into that, like, it's in all your martial arts. Not MMA as such. They're more just they're literally fighting. Martial arts, like traditional martial arts, is it's all incorporated into it. It's not just about fighting. It's about getting in touch with yourself. You just have to get a proper teacher. Yoga. I said art. Jesus, what was on with art? Cooking, jigsaws, all those things can be used. If you look at them a different way, a different perspective, all those things can be used to help you. The biggest one, though, is the one I didn't have to really do, because I got a get out of jail free card there, and that was opening up. That's it. When I first done a video for this, it really helped me, because I took the power away from myself. When I opened up and came out and said all that stuff, it was like, it was a weight over my shoulder. It was something held against me. But when I vocalised it, I took the weapon away from what I thought was people. I took it away from myself. I don't know. I think Shirley had the same kind of experience when she kind of talked. It takes the power away from it. You're not afraid of it. Fear. You're not afraid of it. Um, that's 25 minutes here. I'm gonna go because I'll spill all the stuff out and I won't have any more content or whatever you like to call it. Probably a rant. If you're not better doing scrolling, thanks for listening. If you have any ideas what you want to talk about, or send me a text message or a bloody message there. You can send it to the page, or you can send it to my personal page or anything like that. I'll think of a way of talking about it in a roundabout way. Now, I don't mention bloody names, that's fact. But I'll think about how I dealt with that situation using stupid stuff. From polishing my shoes to tying my shoelaces, putting on a tie, a pair of sunglasses. I'll use anything to describe what you asked me to describe or help you out with. Well, not help you out with. What I done to help myself out with that. That's it. Thank you. Bye bye.